It's the next level chef review. Pew, 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 pew. How are you guys today? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I want to apologize for not getting this out yesterday. I actually was having a lot of issues with Hulu. All right, did y'all have any issues with Hulu? Because my Hulu was acting up. Like it really was acting up. But I'm not gonna take too much of your time. I am in such a good mood. I have been drafting. Back in draft mode, working on my eighth, actually ninth draft. I want to say uh for this book that I have been working on, and I don't know. It just reminded me like how much I love writing and just this process and diving into this world. I found some TikTok University professors, and they just been really helping me. I found the formula, so I want to dive into that. So I'm just excited. The honestly says we just dropped actually our second podcast of the year, and I don't know, y'all. I'm just feeling like so proud of myself right now. I'm really feeling like I am in a great creative mood. And I'm just happy. Like, I think I'm finally getting back to that place where I just embrace and enjoy the process. Because honestly, like, I think that's what we're here in life. I think when you're a young creator or a new creator, you can get kind of caught up in the words and not the words, the follower count and how many people are actually, following you and all of that good stuff. But lately I've just been getting back to my roots of just having fun, and just enjoying life. So I want to go ahead and get into this episode. We are at season 4, episode 8, Beat the Heat. The episode of Next Level Chef. This was actually, before I even get into it, I want to say that this was a really good episode. Again, we're starting to learn more about the contestants as well as the chefs, as the mentors as well. Um, I will also say, I want to start. I do want to preface this by saying that one, I'm not a chef. Two, I'm not even a cook. Oh, I do cook. I do that. I want that to be like my third, maybe my fourth career. I would love to just, take a cooking course for a year or two, and then open like a restaurant where we like only serve family style meals once a week. Like, that's my dream. So I'm saying this as somebody who's expiring it, but I am not a chef. So just know that this is just how I feel about this television show. I love Next Level Chef. I love Top Chef. I may even do that one. This is just a labor of love. And so a little bit about me. I am the creator of Dear Showrunners, which is going to be back up and running this summer. Honestly, since the podcast that just dropped brand new episodes, and honestly, since the newsletter that will be having new newsletters in the fall. And so if you want to support me or know how to keep up with me, the best way to do that is going to www.honestlysis.com. Go ahead and subscribe, join our mailing list, and you will never miss a live. You will never miss a podcast episode because I will make sure that you get all of that information over to you. If you are not interested in going that far, the best way to support me in this channel and what I am doing here with these Next Level Chef reviews is to like, comment, or to subscribe to the channel. Okay. If I just say one thing you like, can you just like it? If you spend like 2 minutes on this video, just like it for me. And if you really want it, you really love it, go ahead and subscribe. Comment if I'm saying anything wrong, or if you want to correct me, or if you want to add on to it. Okay. All right. So, you guys know all about our mentors. We have Chef Arrington, Chef Ramsay, as well as Chef Blais. So, this week we are going to be talking about the Beat the Heat challenge, which is actually I love this. I mean, they called it Beat the Heat, but I really wish they would have called it Check Your Technique. Like, check your technique. Okay, I'm a little corny. But yeah, like this episode was all about testing your technique, and they talked about how different ways of cooking can actually enhance your protein. So if you are to, I've always heard about, if you don't have a lot of time, but you want to get your like beef roast or pot roast very tender, you'll put it in a pressure cooker, or about roasting chicken in the oven. steaming fish. Like this is what we're talking about. And so as we get it going, we the first thing that we learn is that this is going to be a technique challenge, and right away Becca is very nervous because I think for the first time, well, I think Megan is a home chef, Natalie is a home chef, Bobby is a home chef, but I want to say everybody else is a professional chef, and so this is the first time that we have all of these I think it may be all professional and home chefs, but one social media chef. I'm going to look at that breakdown for you guys. Oh, and I also want to look at how many more weeks we have of this to go. That was actually what I was supposed to do, and I got sidetracked by a text message from my friends. But it was actually I needed that message actually, so I'm not even mad that she sent that and I got sidetracked. But I also want to know like how many more weeks do we have of this competition? Because I didn't even know that we're in the top five. I mean, we're in the top 10. Did y'all know we made the top 10? Did they announce that last week? I don't remember it. But we are in the top 10 of the competition. Well, now we're in the top nine after this episode. And so I do want to see, do we have 9 more weeks to go, 7 more weeks to go? If we have 7 more weeks to go, then that definitely means we're going to have a double elimination coming up soon. Matter of fact, let's just check right now, really, really quick. When is the season finale? Uh, Next level chef. Ooh, so May 9th. May 9th. Oh, I love that. Y'all, I graduated on May 9th. I love that. And that's also one of my old friend's birthday. I would never forget. Me, like her, oh my God, her name, her thing is like in my ear. So May 9th is going to be our season finale. As of today is April 9th is when I'm doing this. So we're literally a month away. So that puts us at 4 weeks. Oh my God, y'all. It's 4 weeks left in the competition, right? 4 weeks left in the competition, 9 people remaining. So that means, hold on. That means we're gonna have to lose two. And I think so. I mean, we'll only get three in the finale, and then we're gonna lose. Dang. Okay, so yeah, we got to at least lose 2 people. So it's going to be a double elimination that's coming up soon. Really interested to see how that's going to go about. So let's talk about again. This challenge is all about the techniques, the first floor, and I kind of feel like they got roasting because Beatrice said she wanted roasting. Which that to me it does. This show, and I get it because Gordon want to keep these young guns around, but it's like I just feel like if they're in a top level kitchen, shouldn't they have the hardest challenge? Like it doesn't make sense that the middle level has the most difficult challenge and the top and the bottom level have regular ones. Like I just don't understand how they set that up or how did they go about who got what. Like was it actually a it would have been better for me if they would have just let each team pull something out of a hat like they used to do on Top Chef, or pull, sticks, whatever the fuck. Sorry, I mean to cuss. Whatever it is, like I would have felt better if they would have went about it that way, versus how they did it. Because I just felt like, okay, so they got the top level because Beatrice is comfortable with roasting. The second level got steaming, which is actually one of the harder techniques, and because it also really matters about your protein. And then we have the bottom level with frying, which I mean, it's the basement. So frying is going to be amazing because it's all about taking those unwanted pieces of meat and making it something really really pretty. And so one thing I love before we even got to the platform and started getting into the actual grab, we had each of the teams talking about, okay, what are you thinking about for this dish? And so the middle level kitchen, that because steaming is such a hard protein, um, right away, what Iman was saying was that she was thinking steamed dumplings, and Natalie said that she was thinking tamales, and Bobby, he had literally just did that in paper dish, which I actually love that how some people would just be like, oh well, since I messed it up the first time, I'm just gonna do it again. I love that he didn't do that, that he actually went ahead and started over, and came up with this brand new dish. And so by the time Gordon gets to the top level, he asked everybody, do you feel comfortable with, with oven roasting. And of course, all of them was like, yes, yes, chef, I feel good about it. In the basement, Brandon talked about how he grew up deep frying chicken tenders as a kid. And so he was very comfortable with frying. Um, and honestly, when Chef Blaze was just talking about how deep frying is really amazing for the basement, it made me think like, you know what? I want to try okra now. I've never tried fried okra, and so I'm interested in it. And so at the top level, when we get to the platform, Ryan is grabbing fish again, which I want us to pay attention to that. I'm really Ryan, and I understand, like, this is a competition. You want to play to your strengths. And so, Ryan is never letting seafood go past him. He's cooked, multiple different type of fish on the show, but I want him to kind of come out of his comfort zone. And I would love to see him try to make a steak or to, I won't even say a pasta because he has made a pasta dish, but maybe a good chicken dish. Like I'm starting to think Ryan is leaning too much in his comfort zone. And it makes me worried about where we're going to see him in this competition, because the difference between Ryan other two teammates, which is Arnez and Beatrice, is that Beatrice is not afraid to try something new. And we saw that this week. She got herself a beautiful quail, and then she tried to make a pomegranate beurre blanc, which never heard of it. She said she never heard of it before. Richard said he never even seen them two things go together. But she's willing to again step out of her comfort zone. And again, I do believe that's because she's so comfortable in this competition. Whereas also Arnav, he is stretching himself. He grabbed a venison, but he's never even cooked with venison before. Then the platform go ahead and get on the second level. And I love this because the second level team is still working together. Natalie, she has in her mind that she want to make these tamales, and she knows that in order to make the tamales, she's going to need this marsala, I believe. It's like some type of flour that is really important. And she's like, oh my God, I can't see it. And then one of her teammates is like, oh, it's right, Becca, I think I want to say, it was like, it's right here. And so I do feel like it must be a rule that whatever you pick up from the platform, you actually have to use. So they can't, just pick up a dish, pick up a protein, or pick up some vegetable, whatever, for another contestant. Like that contestant has to physically get it themselves. But what I didn't understand, and if we noticed also from last week, is that everybody on Team Nyesha or Team Arrington, they were working together. They were saying, oh, this is this, I'm looking for this, except for Iman. And the other thing that makes me so disappointed is that Iman, you had this idea to make these steamed dumplings, right? So why did you not take the fish head? Like by the time that the platform came, everybody on Team Arrington recognized that what they needed to be looking for is seafood so that it could quickly just steam. And Iman grabbed these frozen fish patties, which I was just like, see, this is what happens when you let fear win. She had literally a fish head that she could have broke down and made a beautiful fish dish, but instead she allowed her fear to get the best of her, and then she grabbed these frozen patties. Meanwhile, Natalie got the lamb, the masa that she needed. Bobby pointed out the bow buns for Rebecca. Becca got everything that she needed for her dish. Bobby's feeling very excited about his monkfish that he grabbed for his dish, and Iman is just scammering. Then we get down to the basement, and of course, now we are dealing with the scraps of everything. And Brandon, the first thing he saw was the beautiful fish head, and he grabbed it just as Megan was about to grab it. And she was actually really grateful because she's like, I had no idea what I would have did with it. But she actually get left with scallops, which again is like, Iman, how did you not see the scallops? And so one thing about this show is that everything rests on this platform grab. And it also, to me, makes me realize that you are going to be your best if you have a dish in mind before you even get to the platform. And so that you're now, you're building your dish in your mind as you're grabbing these proteins. Like you have your idea for your dish, you get to the platform and you're building that dish in your mind from the platform. And if you don't have that, that's how you end up with people grabbing these, random draws, just grabbing stuff, and then they get a dish and they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Okay. And so Brandon grabbed the fish head. Austin was like, he was looking between the fish head and the scallops, and he really quickly grabbed them chicken wings. And so Megan gets stuck with these scallops. Let's talk about the dishes that came out of here. So the top level team Ramsay, I actually got a really good shot. Kind of, Ramsay is in a picture. Shout out to him. But I did get a good shot. And I mean, even looking at this shot, Beatrice dish, which is over here to the far right, I want to say, it just looks disgusting. Like the sauce does not look like it's just properly like plated. It looks like it's runny and it's running off the dish. Though it's bright, it does not pair well with the other with the quail and the chard broccoli that she has on here. Meanwhile, if you look in the middle, our knob, lion, his venison. And he kind of put it on this beautiful wooden board. And then, of course, we have Ryan Seabream, which he paired with some blistered tomatoes. It looks like a very, very beautiful dish. To me, the top dish that came out of this kitchen is, of course, Arna venison. And I've had venison last year when I was on a Virgin Voyages cruise, and it was so good. Like people always talk about how it was tough, but it really kind of gave me like a roast beef taste to it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's right, but to me it just tastes like steak, kind of steak or roast beef. It was like somewhere in between there. Next up, we got the middle level, and I had to get this picture. One thing I do want to talk a little bit about the middle level kitchen is that as they were cooking, Becca is very, very nervous. Remember, she was already feeling like the underdog last week. Right now, she was really, really nervous about how she was going to cook her prawn. I mean, about getting her protein cooked on time. And so Becca was asking questions to Natalie, like, okay, should I drop them now? Should I drop them then? And I just love this because I said last week, like, I really hope that Becca allows, like, all of this yucky feeling to help her propel into a really beautiful dish. And that's what ended up happening. This dish that's shown right here is Becca's po bowl shrimp, like kind of like a po' boy, but making a play on that. And so she has these steam buns underneath, beautiful shrimp prawns, and it looked like she has all of these like lettuce and cilantro, like little pickle dish. So it's kind of like an open face salad sandwich. It was beautiful. Next up, Natalie had some lamb tamales that did not look very appealing, but Richard said that they taste very good. Bobby made this beautiful spike monkfish that he used with this, I want to say it was a curry sauce, but it had this beautiful color on it. And the mentors talked about how hard it is to cook monkfish, and it's definitely not a fish you want to steam because it has so much water, but Bobby pulled it off. And then last but not least, we had Iman's salmon bowl, which it just it looked so bad. And Richard, I mean not Richard, Gordon was just like, so how do you feel that the scallops and the halibut head actually went all the way down to the basement? Like, and Iman had absolutely nothing to say. The funny thing is, towards the end of the cook, Iman was messing with all of these like different type of um dressings, I guess, to try to, give it some type of umami flavors. And she was like, yeah, oh, this is so good. This is gonna be the greatest comeback. Like she was really hyping herself up, only for Richard to say that. I'm gonna tell y'all what he said when we get to the judges debate. But this is what came out the middle level kitchen, and they was the only team with 4 contestants left. At the bottom level, what's shown right now is this beautiful, Austin's beautiful orange chicken wings. What I really appreciated about this is that Austin took the flavor pack from the noodles, which is something I never would have thought to do. But he took the flavor pack from the noodles and he used that to season his chicken because it will bring up all of these beautiful bright flavors. And then he made a beautiful, I think I want to say his, I'm not even gonna kill that word. He made this beautiful sauce to go over it. Nyesha said that if the team wasn't there, she would have like ate the whole bowl. And then Brandon took this big ass chicken halibut. I mean, chicken halibut. This big halibut head, and he broke it down and made classic fish and grits, which is like, how can you ever go wrong with that? And one thing that I thought was very clever about Brandon dishes, he did not have cheese, and that was also what Richard was saying, he was like, all you're missing is cheese. And he mentioned that like cheesy grits is his daughter's favorite birthday meal. And my favorite birthday meal is cheesy grits and eggs. Like, I mean, cheesy grits and fish. Like, fish and grits is my all time favorite breakfast. Like, ask my daddy. Like, I absolutely love it. And so I was really excited about Brandon sauce. And then the mid round drop, which I always say, this is how you know if somebody's gonna, do good or not. But everybody seemed like they were doing fairly good by the mid round drop. But on the mid round drop, of course, Natalie, it was like a Chili's drop. And so Arnav talked about how he grew up eating chilies and how he knew that this was going to add a really good flavor to his dish. Natalie was super excited because you need that spice for those tamales. And then Brandon, he looked up and got this peri sauce, which is also this like it's a fish sauce, right? Like, so he was able to incorporate that into his dish. So let's go to the judges' debate. If you're looking at the screen, I did get a really good picture. I guess it ain't the best picture, but I did get a picture of the platform as it was going up. And what we were able to see is Ryan Dish. You can see a little bit. Man, you can see them tamales. You can see Bobby monkfish dish over here. Of course, you can see Becca po bao. And then over here at the bottom level, you can see Brandon's fish and grits with that beautiful poached egg on top. And that's why I was saying that was really smart. He didn't have the cheese, but he put that poached egg. And so when you crack open that egg and it kind of runs over there, it's going to give you that really creamy, velvety texture of that since he does not have that cheese. So it's like Brandon is smart. We got to pay attention to Brandon. Natalie thinks he's cocky, but Brandon is confident, and I'm keeping my eyes on him. And then over here, you see that Megan, her scallop dish. So, of course, top level, the first thing that they talked about, and I forgot to mention this, is that when he was eating Beatrice dish, when Chef Blais was eating Beatrice dish, he said that, typically a beurre blanc and a poetry does not even go together. And so now we're starting to see how some of that youngness is starting to bite them in the butt. And it was funny because before this even started, as they were talking about techniques, Richard was, I'll say that. I'll say that. I'll say that. So on the top level, they were talking about how Beatrice's dish just did not come together. The middle level kitchen, Richard called Iman's dish cat food, and he said that was probably the worst dish he's ever seen on Next Level Chef. But then they also talked about Becca and how this was one of her strongest dish cooks yet. And Nyesha was just so excited, and she was like, I'm seeing something brand new from Becca. And so, again, that sometimes when you're in a dumps or when you keep getting saved, it can either make you better or it can make you worse, and in this instant it's definitely made Becca better, and I was just so happy for her. Like, I literally was cheering. And this is supposed to say the bottom level. And in the bottom level, what they were talking about is just that this was, Naisha said very honestly, like, this was the best cook of the bottom level that I've ever seen. Gordon was not trying to have that. I bet you he was trying to push for an Arnav venison dish, but I'm really glad that Naisha had Richard back, and Richard was like, you know what, this is why I love you, because you have so much integrity, and that is true. Because at the end of the day, what matters to Naisha is that the best chef wins. So whether that is from Richard kitchen or Gordon kitchen or her own, like whatever, what matters most is that it is the best dish. And so uh, another heated debate, but it was a good one. Yeah, I really feel like he was. I said that before. I really feel like he was pushing for Team Ramsay, but I'm so glad that they did not. So the winner, they did not win. And so the winner of this round was Chef Blaze. Team Blaze. We finally won. I'm so excited. The dish that is shown right here is Brandon's beautiful fish and grits dish. I mean, look how beautiful that is. Personally, I wish I had that right now. And so Brandon won. I'm so proud of him. I'm so excited. I know this is only the first of many, and Team Blaze has finally made it to the top kitchen. I don't think they've been here all season, so this is really exciting. So that brings the elimination. The elimination ends up coming down to a cedar plank challenge. And so we have to get a contestant either from Team Arrington and a team or a person from Team Gordon. One thing that I really loved is that when Iman had first got her dish, Nyesha was looking at her like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? She was like 7 patties, and Iman is trying to still stay like super, she's still trying to stay super confident and like, oh yeah, I know, chef, I know this. She's like, this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. And Nyesha was like, yeah, but that is the essence of this challenge. Like, you're going to be out of your wheelhouse. And I will say that is Iman's weakness. Like, she used to always say, oh, I don't want to be basement. I don't want to be in the basement, because she just felt like it wasn't the best, the best cooking thing. So she didn't want to be down there. Now it was, the steaming. This is not my wheelhouse. So now, it's like, the whole purpose of the competition is to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And so I honestly feel like Iman shot herself in the foot, because she was not able to be flexible in this competition and know that this competition is not about you staying in your strong suits. And so that's why I want Ryan to win. And I will say, during this episode, before we even get to the elimination, I will say during this episode, all of the mentors made a point to connect to at least one or two people on the team so we can learn some more background information about them. And so Gordon talked to Ramsay about bonding over being young fathers, and how, that really keeps Ryan focused. And he told his baby name and that she's only like a month old. you know, I really appreciate that, but I'm also worried that Ryan has not stepped outside of his comfort zone. Like, what's going to happen, Ryan, when you get a steak or you get venison? Like, are you going to be able to still step up to the plate? Then we got to learn about I don't think we learned anything in there. We went down to the basement and we learned about Megan, and how her husband is back at home taking care of all three, two of her kids plus four chickens. And it just made me think about how it's so important to have a partner who supports you and who push you forward. And so I really just loved all of the different things that we got to learn about the contestants this week. And then, of course, as Nyesha was talking to Iman, they talked about her family being from Pakistan and her background, and, how she had to, work in these fine dining restaurants and work two jobs. And Naisha told her to remember who you are, and that is going to help her in the competition. And so Naisha said point blank, this wasn't a very hard pick for her. She put Iman in, and Gordon put Beatrice in. And so that is who our competition is all about. I mean, it's who our elimination challenge is for. Beatrice has not cooked with cedar plank before, but she said that she does a lot of camping, and so she's familiar with cooking over fire. Um, right away, they when they're grabbing the dish, I just love how, when Team Blais finally got up there, they're like, oh my god, this lounge, it actually exists, this is actually a place. Like, they were talking, just looking over the elimination, and they saw how focused Beatrice was. And Brandon was like, she's hungry, like you could see the hunger on her. And Iman was talking about, like, even when the judges were debating, Iman was like, I'm ready to just say my name so I can cook and I can go home. Iman lost before she even went into the elimination challenge. And so the people in the lounge, Team Blais, is talking about how hungry Beatrice is. They were having anxiety because neither one of the contestants had actually looked at their fish to just check on it, because there can be too much smoke when it comes to this style of cooking, and it can actually ruin the protein versus enhancing it. Um, what else do I want to talk about? It was one more thing. It was one more thing. Oh, and then when Iman was making her grilled zucchini, Austin was like, "Ooh, that's sexy." So it's just, I love how chefs talk about food. And so the winner of this competition actually ends up being Beatrice. And honestly, just looking at the plating, Beatrice's dish does look a little bit more appealing to me. But I love how Iman was talking about, she put Pakistan on a dish. This is something that they eat at home very often. So I love that she went with her heart. And I also love how Beatrice said, I was sorry to see her leave, but I am happy to stay. Like Beatrice just have this like focus, and she just really like, I don't know, like she may fuck around to win this competition. But yeah, Beatrice took this winner home, bringing Team Arrington down to 3, and they will be in the basement, taking Team Gorton in the middle basement. But it sound like from Gorton little speech at the end of the competition that next week we're gonna lose the team. So that will be interesting as well. Final thoughts. We made it. Life advice. So this week I actually had 2 life advice, two that goes into one, and it's all about Iman. Um, I, I feel like I talked about this a little bit about, when you are afraid to come out of your comfort zone, sometimes it can hurt you. I feel like what happened to Iman is that she allowed fear to get the best of her and to allow her to make a not even a lesser decision, but not the best decision. When you allow fear to rule you, you're not going to make the best decisions, like sometimes that fear or that anxiety is actually trying to help you push yourself out of the comfort zone. And so when Iman saw that, that halibut head, and she's like, oh, I don't want that. And then she settled for salmon patties. It's like, girl, like, how did you not know that that's just, and she's like, well, why didn't I just walk around the platform? It wasn't about walking around the platform. Why didn't you just grab the halibut head? Because you're in a steamed fish challenge. Like, you don't know how to break down the halibut head. Now that doesn't make any sense if you're a professional chef. You know what I'm saying? So this was such a good way to see how fear can just get the best of us. When you allow fear to make your decisions for you, you're gonna lose every time. And another thing, when Nyesha was talking to Iman, and they were talking about how difficult the competition is and how this is outside of her comfort zone, Nyesha was reminding her, no, you have a fine binding background. You are CEO of a cookie company, or of a company. She didn't say cookie company, but of a company. And she was like, you have to remember who you are, and that is your superpower. And I think that's something that we always have to remember, whether we are in a food competition or whether we are in a conference room at our corporate job. I think sometimes when we get this moment of imposter syndrome, especially when you're stepping into new arenas, you have to remind yourself that you wouldn't even be in that arena if you weren't qualified for it. So sometimes, or sometimes the next time you find yourself, feeling anxiety, or you're finding yourself hard to go through something, to face something, you need to remind yourself of who you are. And a really good example of that is what I was talking about right before I begin this spiel. I got a developmental edit and it hurt my feelings. It did. It hurt my feelings because I've been working on my book for 10 years. And this last chapter, this last draft was supposed to be perfect. And the lady was supposed to say, oh, this is ready for publishing. Fuck if that, fuck if I ain't get my money's worth. But that's why I thought what was going to happen. And so when it didn't happen, I was hurt. But over this time, instead of, brushing off the hurt or acting like it didn't happen, I had to work through that. I had to figure out why I was hurt, what I was going through. But then I also had to remind myself of what I have learned throughout this process and what I have accomplished. I'm not the same girl who first started that book 10 years ago. I'm different. I'm changed. I look at reading different. I look at my writing different. And I had to remind myself that as I go into this next draft. So if you are feeling down, I want you to remember the same thing. Mentor beef, we do have a little bitty of update at the beginning of the challenge when they were talking about all the different techniques. They were talking about steaming and pressure cooking. And Richard said maybe they may have to do poaching because I heard that you tried to poach some of my teammates. And then Gordon was like, no, they were trying to get me. But then he goes say, Megan, come on, you can come over. And Megan's like, no, I'm gonna dance with the one who bought me. When they were dropping Richard off in the basement, Nyesha and Gordon came into the basement and was like, hey, do y'all need some advice? Because y'all suck. Which I was like, how you gonna say that to them? But again, very good banner. Still loving how how the mentors are taking this so very seriously. And Nyesha was like, when they were having the judges debate, he's like, this is like a different basement. Like, what is going on down there? And at the end, they were like, I think I'm going to take the credit. Like, this because me and Nyesha went down there. But I'm happy for Team Blades. I told y'all that Keith was the only weak link on that team. And now we see, as soon as he's gone, rise to the top. All right, predictions. My prediction is, and this may be a controversial one. I don't think that Ryan's gonna make it next week. If Ryan does not get fish, I bet you he's gonna end up in an elimination. I'm not gonna say that he's gonna leave because I do believe Ryan is a good cook, but I do think if Ryan doesn't get a fish dish, he may end up in the bottom. I think Becca is gonna continue to do well. I think Brandon is gonna continue to do well. Natalie, she is still like, she keep coming in there. I'm ready for Natalie to have a breakout dish. I do think Beatrice going into that illumination challenge is not going to do anything but make her just a little bit more confident. And I really love the cook that came out of her not. Honestly, y'all, I don't know who's going to win, but I will say I have my eye on if Ryan does not get one thing that I will say. I do wonder how these young guns would have been if they were not all on the same team. Like, so say if Nyesha, Richard, like, what if one of them would have took each of them? I think they would have left much sooner. So I'm going to be interested to see how the young guns, make it when we are no longer within those team settings. And the one that I'm really looking for and I'm really worried about is Ryan. Uh, if he doesn't get a fish dish, what's going to happen? All right, y'all. Next episode, I'll see y'all. I will be back next week. Tuesday, time will be 12:30. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the Honestly Says website. So please make sure that you go check out www.honestlysays.com. That is the best way to know when I'm gonna go live. Now that we know May 9th is gonna be our last next level chef. So I am going to be looking. I'm gonna be looking for a new TV show to review. Oh, I gotta see when Big Brother start because I'm definitely gonna be covering Big Brother this year. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, comment down below. Have you? I actually been thinking about just reviving Dear Showrunners and just running through a couple of TV shows every week. So let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. If you know a good cooking show or just a good competition show you would like me to cover, go ahead, comment down below. If not, I do want you guys to let me know, what did you think about the winner this week? Do you think the right person got eliminated? And who do you think is going to win this competition? Please put all of those uh, answers down below. And remember, the best way to support the channel is to like, comment, or subscribe. So please, if you made it all the way to the end, just go ahead, hit me a thumbs up, give me a like, and then also maybe leave a little purple heart in the chat to just let me, or a purple or green heart in the chat to let me know you made it to the end. And so I know that you are one of the real ones. Okay. All right, y'all. I am Honest Am. Thank you so much for helping my dreams come true. Now get out there and work on your own. I will see you next week for another episode of Next Level Chef Review. See you soon. Bye bye. See you next week. Bye bye.